I'm about to show you something that sounds absolutely insane. Food that lasts longer than your mortgage. Food that you could bury in your backyard today and dig up in 2070. Food that costs less per serving than McDonald's and tastes better than most restaurants. Sounds like science fiction, right? It's not. It's freeze-dried food, and it's the most underrated financial investment you've never heard of. Here's what I mean. Right now, you're spending roughly $800 a month on groceries. That's $9,600 a year. Over 40 years? That's $384,000 on food. But what if you could buy 40 years worth of certain foods today at today's prices? What if you could lock in 2025 food prices for items you'll be eating in 2065? That's exactly what freeze-dried food lets you do. I'm not saying replace everything, but there are 11 specific foods where this strategy is a no-brainer, and I'm ranking them for you today from good to absolute essential. Number 11 costs less per serving than chicken but has more protein than beef. Number 7 is in your fridge right now, wasting your money every single week. And number 1? It's the food I'd grab first if I could only afford one item on this list. Let's break it down. Number 11, freeze-dried corn. Alright, let's start with number 11. And this might surprise you. Freeze-dried corn. Now, I know what you're thinking. Corn? Really? That's your big survival food? Hear me out, because there's a reason this made the list. Corn is a calorie powerhouse. One serving gives you 130 calories, mostly from complex carbohydrates. And when things get tough, calories are king. You need energy, you need fuel. Corn delivers both. But here's what makes freeze-dried corn special. It's insanely versatile. You can throw it in soups, stews, casseroles. You can make cornbread with it. You can serve it as a side dish. You can even grind it into cornmeal and make tortillas from scratch. Fresh corn on the cob? Maybe it lasts a week in your fridge. Canned corn? 2 to 3 years max. Freeze-dried corn, properly stored in a number 10 can with an oxygen absorber? We're talking 30 to 40 years. That's longer than most people's mortgages, and the cost makes sense. A number 10 can run about $20 to $25. That gives you roughly 30 servings. Do the math. That's less than $1 per serving for food that lasts 4 decades. Now, here's what I learned testing this stuff back in 2019. I made cornbread using freeze-dried corn that was 5 years old. I didn't tell my wife it was freeze-dried. She had no idea. Zero difference in taste or texture. She actually said it was some of the best cornbread I'd ever made. But there's a trick to rehydrating freeze-dried corn that most people mess up. Don't use cold water. Use hot water. Actually hot, like boiling or just off the boil. Pour it over the corn. Let it sit for about 10 minutes. The hot water reactivates the starches in the corn and gives you that fresh, sweet, almost like it came off the cob texture. If you use cold water, it rehydrates, sure, but it comes out chewy and weird. Not terrible, just not great. I keep freeze-dried corn in my rotation because it's cheap insurance against bland meals. When you're eating rice and beans for the 3rd week in a row, adding corn makes that meal feel like an actual dinner instead of just fuel. So that's number 11. Freeze-dried corn. Underrated, affordable, lasts forever. Number 10, freeze-dried mushrooms. And before you skip ahead because you think you don't like mushrooms, or you think they're just a boring vegetable, hold on for a second. Because mushrooms are not what you think they are. Mushrooms are flavor bombs. They add something called umami, that deep, savory, almost meaty taste that makes everything better. It's the same flavor that's in soy sauce, aged cheese, and slow-cooked meats. And freeze-dried mushrooms concentrate that flavor even more. But here's what most people don't know. Mushrooms are one of the only plant-based sources of vitamin D. The same vitamin D you get from sunlight. The same one most Americans are deficient in, especially in winter. Mushrooms naturally produce it. Now, let's talk about shelf life. Fresh mushrooms? You're lucky if they last 5 days in your fridge before they get slimy. Freeze-dried mushrooms, stored properly? 20 to 25 years. That's 2 decades of having this flavor enhancer ready to go, and the cost comparison is wild. Right now, fresh mushrooms run about $5 for 8 ounces. They last maybe 5 days before they start going bad. A container of freeze-dried mushrooms costs around $15 to $20, and that gives you the equivalent of 3 pounds of fresh mushrooms that'll last 25 years. Do that math. You're basically paying $5 per pound of fresh equivalent, and it never goes bad, ever. Here's my story with these. Back in 2020, during the pandemic, when grocery stores looked like something out of a movie, I had freeze-dried mushrooms sitting in my pantry. While everyone else was fighting over the last can of soup, I was making mushroom gravy from scratch. I was making mushroom soup. I was adding them to pasta dishes. Those freeze-dried mushrooms saved my sanity when fresh food was impossible to find, and they tasted exactly like I'd bought them fresh that day. But there's one critical mistake people make with freeze-dried mushrooms. Don't over-rehydrate them. Most people think more water and more time equals better results. Wrong. 5 minutes in warm water, that's it. Any longer, and they get slimy and lose that texture. 5 minutes, then drain off the excess water, and you're good to go. I use freeze-dried mushrooms all the time. Not because I'm in survival mode, but because they're convenient and they make everything taste better. Scrambled eggs with mushrooms. Pasta with mushroom cream sauce. Burgers with sautéed mushrooms on top. They're a flavor upgrade that lasts 25 years. Number 9. Freeze-dried green beans. Now, green beans might not sound exciting, but stick with me because there's a reason they're ranked higher than corn and mushrooms. Green beans are one of the most versatile vegetables you can store. You can throw them in casseroles, soups, stir-fries. You can serve them as a simple side dish with butter. You can add them to pasta. They work with almost any meal you're making. But here's what makes them special for long-term storage. Fresh green beans last maybe a week in your fridge before they start getting soft and brown. Canned green beans? 2 to 3 years max, and let's be honest, they taste like the can they came in. Freeze-dried green beans, stored in a number 10 can with oxygen absorbers, 25 to 30 years, and they taste like you picked them from the garden. A number 10 can run about $22 to $28. That gives you 25 servings. It's less than $1 per serving for vegetables that last 3 decades, and nutritionally, they're solid. Each serving gives you 2 grams of protein, plenty of fiber for digestive health, vitamin K for bone health, and vitamin C for your immune system. These aren't just filler vegetables. They're actually contributing nutrients to your diet. Here's what I learned testing these back in 2021. I rehydrated some freeze-dried green beans that were 6 years old and served them with dinner. My kids ate them without complaining. And if you have kids, you know that's basically a 5-star review. The secret to rehydrating green beans is using boiling water and giving them time. Pour boiling water over them, cover the bowl, and let them sit for 8 to 10 minutes. Don't rush it. That sitting time lets them fully absorb the moisture and plump back up. After they're rehydrated, you can eat them as is, or you can heat them up in a pan with a little butter and garlic. Honestly, they taste better than most canned vegetables you'd buy at the store. I keep freeze-dried green beans in my pantry because they're reliable. They work in almost any dish. Kids usually tolerate them, and they last 30 years without taking up much space. Number 7. Freeze-dried broccoli. Alright, coming in at number 7, freeze-dried broccoli. Now before you roll your eyes and say, broccoli? Seriously? Hear me out. This might be the single most underrated food sitting in your fridge right now, quietly stealing your money every week. Because here's the truth, fresh broccoli has a shorter lifespan than a goldfish. You buy it on Sunday, it's yellow by Wednesday, and by the weekend, it's a science experiment in your crisper drawer. You throw it out, buy more, and repeat. That's wasted money, every single week. Freeze-dried broccoli fixes that problem completely. Properly sealed in 10 cans with oxygen absorbers, it'll stay fresh for 25 to 30 years. 3 decades of ready-to-use greens that never wilt, never rot, and never make your fridge smell like regret. And nutritionally? Broccoli is a powerhouse. 1 serving gives you more vitamin C than an orange, tons of vitamin K for bone health, plus fiber and plant protein. Freeze-drying keeps over 95% of those nutrients intact. You're basically getting garden-fresh nutrition with apocalypse-proof storage. Let's talk about money. A big can costs around $25 to $30, which gives you about 25 servings. That's roughly $1 per serving for premium vegetables that last longer than most marriages. Compare that to buying fresh every week, that's hundreds of dollars a year gone to waste. Cooking with it is stupid simple. Want stir-fry? Add it right into the pan and it rehydrates instantly with the sauce. Making soup or casserole? Throw it in dry and let it soak up flavor as it cooks. For a side dish, just pour boiling water over it, cover, and let it sit for 7 to 8 minutes. Drain, season, and you'd swear it came out of a steamer. The flavor? Shockingly good. None of that soggy, overcooked taste you get from frozen broccoli. Just crisp, green, slightly nutty freshness every time. So yeah, it's not glamorous. But freeze-dried broccoli is the quiet workhorse of long-term food storage. Cheap, healthy, and it never dies. Number 6, freeze-dried blueberries. Number 6 on the list, freeze-dried blueberries. Tiny, powerful, and worth their weight in gold when it comes to long-term food storage. These little berries aren't just a sweet treat. They're one of the healthiest and most practical foods you can store for decades. Let me explain why. Fresh blueberries are delicious for about 3 days. Then they turn soft, leak juice, and start growing fuzz. You blink, and they're gone. Freeze-dried blueberries, on the other hand, last 25 to 30 years when stored properly. No mold, no mush, no waste. Just clean, lightweight fruit you can eat straight out of the can or mix into anything. Now, nutritionally, this is where they shine. Blueberries are antioxidant bombs. They're packed with compounds that help fight aging, boost brain health, and support your heart. Freeze-drying removes water but keeps almost all of those nutrients intact. You're getting nearly the same vitamin C, fiber, and anthocyanins you'd get from a fresh handful, without the clock ticking. Here's the value breakdown. A 10 can cost around $35, $40, and gives you roughly 40 servings. That's about $1 serving for fruit that could outlast your mortgage. Compare that to buying fresh berries weekly at $5 per pint. You'd spend hundreds every year just to watch half of them spoil. As for use, endless. Toss them into oatmeal, trail mix, yogurt, or smoothies. Crush them into powder to flavor pancakes or frostings. My favorite? Sprinkle them on cereal for that crunchy, tart, sweet pop. And if you want them soft, just add a splash of warm water. 30 seconds is all it takes. The flavor is unreal, pure blueberry, slightly tangy, perfectly sweet. It tastes like summer in every bite, no matter what month it is. That's why freeze-dried blueberries are more than a snack. They're a 30-year ticket to real fruit flavor whenever you need it. Number 5. Freeze-dried peas. If there's one food that never gets the respect it deserves, it's peas. Yeah, those tiny green things you used to push around your plate as a kid, turns out they're low-key superheroes when it comes to long-term food storage. And when they're freeze-dried, total game changer. See, peas are one of the fastest foods to spoil. Fresh ones barely last a week before turning soft and sad. Even frozen peas only give you a couple of years of shelf life. But freeze-dried peas? Lock them in a 10 can with an oxygen absorber, and you're looking at 25 to 35 years of shelf stability. That's older than some of your favorite movies. But it's not just about lasting forever, it's about what's inside. Peas are loaded with plant-based protein, fiber, iron, vitamin C, and B vitamins. Basically, if multivitamins could taste good, they'd taste like peas, and freeze-drying keeps almost all that nutrition intact. You're not eating survival food. You're eating real food that just happens to be apocalypse-proof. Cooking them is stupidly simple. Want a quick side? Pour boiling water, cover for 8-10 minutes, drain, then hit them with butter, salt, and maybe a dash of black pepper. They taste fresh like you just shelled them from the pod. Making soup or fried rice? Toss them in dry, they'll rehydrate perfectly while cooking. And the flavor? Sweet, clean, addictive. I've caught myself eating them straight out of the can like crunchy popcorn. They're that good. Cost-wise, it's hard to beat. Around $25, $30 gets you roughly 30 servings. That's less than $1 per serving for a vegetable that never dies, never spoils, and never lets you down. Freeze-dried peas are proof that sometimes the simplest foods are the smartest investment, small, mighty, and built to last. Number 4. Freeze-dried potatoes. Now we're talking about comfort food. Potatoes, the one ingredient that shows up everywhere, from breakfast hash to late-night fries. They're simple, filling, and universally loved. But here's the problem. Fresh potatoes don't last forever. Leave them too long and they sprout, shrivel, or rot. Freeze-dried potatoes? A whole different story. You're looking at 25 to 30 years of shelf life. That's not food, that's edible security. The magic of freeze-drying is it locks in all that potato goodness, the starch, the flavor, the satisfaction, while kicking out the moisture that causes spoilage. And when you rehydrate them, they taste like they came straight out of the pan. Seriously, I've served freeze-dried mashed potatoes without telling anyone, and nobody noticed a thing. Nutritionally, they deliver what you expect: solid carbs for energy, a bit of protein, potassium, vitamin C, and that warm, full feeling that makes a meal feel complete. When times are tough, that kind of comfort matters more than you think. Here's the kicker: versatility. You can make mashed potatoes, hash browns, potato soup, casseroles, even shepherd's pie. Just add hot water, let them sit for about 10 minutes, drain, season, and boom, real potatoes. No peeling, no waiting, no waste. And cost? A 10 can runs around $25, with about 25 servings inside. That's roughly $1 per serving for food that could literally outlive your fridge. Freeze-dried potatoes are one of those things you don't realize you need until you have them. They're filling, familiar, and built for the long haul of pure comfort that lasts for decades. Number 3, freeze-dried ground beef. If there's one food that makes every meal feel complete, it's beef. Tacos, spaghetti, chili, burgers, it's the foundation of comfort food. The problem? Fresh ground beef has the shelf life of a TikTok trend. You buy it today, and by the weekend it's turning brown in your fridge. Freeze-dried ground beef flips that script completely. It lasts 30 to 40 years when stored right. Yeah, 4 decades of real meat ready whenever you are. And this isn't some mystery meat substitute, it's 100% cooked beef, freeze-dried to lock in protein, flavor, and texture. Rehydrate it with hot water, give it 5 minutes, and you've got juicy, seasoned ground beef that tastes like it just came off the stove. I've tested it myself, made tacos for a family dinner, and nobody guessed it was shelf-stable meat. Each serving packs serious protein, around 22 grams per serving, more than chicken or beans. It's fuel for hard days, workouts, or survival situations where you actually need real sustenance, not just calories. Price-wise, it's not cheap, but it's worth it. Around $60, $70 for a 10 can, giving you about 20 servings of real beef that will outlast your freezer, your fridge, and probably your house. Freeze-dried ground beef isn't just survival food, it's freedom food. Real meat, real flavor, decades of peace of mind in one can. Number 2, freeze-dried chicken. When it comes to survival food that actually feels like a real meal, nothing beats chicken. It's lean, it's versatile, and it's the kind of protein you can eat 3 times a day without getting sick of it. But fresh chicken? Let's be honest, it's a ticking time bomb in your fridge. 2 days too long and it's game over. Freeze-dried chicken changes everything. We're talking 25 to 30 years of shelf life. That's not a typo. 3 decades of real, fully cooked chicken, ready to go whenever you are. Just add hot water, wait 5 minutes, and boom, tender, juicy chicken that tastes freshly made. It's the easiest, instant meat you'll ever cook. Nutritionally, it's loaded. One serving packs around 20 grams of pure protein, 0 carbs, and barely any fat. Whether you're hitting the gym or just trying to stay full, it's clean, efficient fuel that never spoils. The best part? You can use it in anything: soups, sandwiches, pasta, salads, stir-fries, tacos, whatever. It's real chicken that just happens to live in a can. A 10 can runs about $60, $65, with roughly 20 servings inside. That's long-term security in its tastiest form. Freeze-dried chicken is simple, powerful, and built to last: real food for real life. Number 1, freeze-dried eggs. You can't have a real breakfast without eggs. They're the backbone of every morning: scrambled, fried, boiled, baked, doesn't matter. But fresh eggs? They've got a short fuse. Even refrigerated, you're lucky to get a couple of months. Freeze-dried eggs, though? 25 to 30 years. Yeah, decades of breakfast in a can. These aren't powdered imposters, they're real eggs, cooked or raw, freeze-dried to lock in flavor, protein, and texture. Add warm water, whisk, and you've got fluffy scrambled eggs in minutes. They taste exactly like the ones you'd make: fresh, rich, creamy, and satisfying. Each serving gives you about 6 grams of protein, plus essential fats and nutrients that keep you energized. Whether you're camping, surviving, or just too lazy to hit the store, they deliver real food with zero hassle. Cost-wise, a 10 can runs around $45, $55, and gives you the equivalent of 70, 80 eggs. That's pennies per meal and peace of mind that never expires. Freeze-dried eggs aren't just a breakfast item, they're the ultimate backup plan. Quick to make, hard to beat, and built to last. Crack open a can, and you've got decades of morning comfort waiting inside. So, here's the truth, my friend. The world changes fast. Prices go up, supply chains break, and grocery stores can empty overnight. But the one thing that never changes? The need to eat. Food isn't a luxury, it's survival, it's comfort, it's control. And that's what freeze-dried food really gives you control. Control over your wallet, control over your future, control over your peace of mind. You're not hoarding food, you're investing in freedom. The freedom to know that no matter what happens, your family eats. Think about it. Every can you store today is one less worry tomorrow. It's a small step that separates I wish I had from I'm glad I did. And that step starts now. If this breakdown opened your eyes, if you learned something new or even thought once, damn, I should start doing this, then don't walk away yet. Hit that subscribe button. Because this isn't the end, it's the beginning of a smarter way to live. Every week, I drop deep dive guides like this. Real strategies, real numbers, real results, all designed to make you more self-reliant and future-proof. Don't just scroll by. Join the tribe that's preparing smarter, living freer, and staying one step ahead. Subscribe now, and let's build your 40-year pantry together.